Hello, what's up everyone? This is VA Trevelyan again, and I would like to welcome you back to my channel for my second video. I'm really glad that I got a few views for my first video, and I'm pretty happy about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue what I basically did yesterday, which is help people out and do ground combat and stuff. First of all, you probably noticed that the record quality is a little better on this video than the first one. I talked to someone that I know regarding the first video, and they were pretty pleased with what they saw. I mean, for a first video effort, they thought it was pretty good. I wasn't really satisfied. It's not up to the quality level. It wasn't up to the quality level that I personally thought it should be at. I'm still not exactly sure if I'm pleased with the current result. I mean, I won't know until I see it on YouTube because I'm currently recording and talking to you. But I am kind of curious to see how it pans out with these new settings, and I hope that they're an improvement, and I hope you don't have a problem. Hopefully, when I see this final product on YouTube, it'll be something I'm sort of satisfied with for now. If not, then I'm definitely going to be toying around with stuff and trying to get that fixed as soon as I possibly can. Also, I'm going to try to do a video as often as I can. If I'm going to do this YouTube thing, it doesn't make sense to post 3 videos and then quit after 2 weeks or something like that. So I'm going to try like a daily or every other day kind of schedule if I can. I can't guarantee it because I do have a real life job. So you got to understand, if you are a viewer to my channel and you like my content, I can't do this 100% of the time at the moment. Also, another thing I'm going to do coming up probably tomorrow is I'm going to upload a video of an older game because I like old games. I like 80s games, I like 90s games, and I think that there's a lot of games that have a lot of potential. Now, I know a lot of people who, do the older games. They don't do a lot. They try to make it seem like it is in its original glory. I know there's a lot of people who don't like those games in their original glory. So I'm going to try to call it somewhere in the middle and try to work something out between now and then. Try to keep it tasteful. Do sort of a mid-range kind of upgrade on graphics and sound, so that, pretty much everybody's sort of satisfied with the final product and it's not too intrusive. I don't know what game I'm going to do yet. I suppose since I'm starting out Star Trek games, I do have a Star Trek game in mind. You'll find out tomorrow if I do choose it or not. If not, I've got a couple of older games that I've been sort of mulling around thinking of throwing up. But I'll probably have to see how that goes. But anyway, I think that we should go into the gaming right now, and what I'd like to do is basically discuss slightly more advanced tactics for ground combat. I'm all for dramatic entrances, so I'm just going to jump off this building and fall right into the battle zone. Well, okay, we're now back in the battle zone, and as you can see, I'm getting shot at again. I know there was a bit of oohing and ahhing yesterday, but it's really kind of hard to basically teach people how to survive and stuff when, you're getting shot at in real time. So I'm going to try to keep oohing and ahhing at a minimum because I'm not actually talking in live combat right now. This is a post-game track. This is an after-action armchair quarterbacking report. So, going forward, there's a couple of other strategies that, some people miss out on in combat. Not as many as, the other two things. You'd be surprised about how many people don't know how to aim or don't bother to crouch or anything. And those are 2 very fundamental things that you should do in ground PvP combat in Star Trek Online. If you're going to do it, PvP or PvE, those things will keep you alive when the fur really hits the fan. It's going to be something that you'll want to make into a second instinct. Now, it's not a big deal if you're doing an in-game mission, like one of the Klingon missions or one of the Romulan missions, not the PvEs, but the actual episode stuff. Those ground missions tend to be pretty easy. So, I mean, you can just basically do the overhand shooting stuff. You don't even have to, do the select and hit one stuff that I was talking about yesterday. Those are very easy missions to get through. But when you're in PvE or definitely PvP, you have to remember to aim and you'd have to remember to duck. preferably both at the same time, but if you need to keep mobile, and that, like in the Both battle zone, if you don't keep mobile, they're going to launch mortars at you, and those mortars that the Both have at that level are very damaging, and you don't want to be anywhere near them. So you got to keep moving, so definitely aim, and when you can get away with a crouch. But there's other tactics that you should do when you're in the middle of a ground combat situation where it's, you're actually, where things just got real. So one thing you definitely want to do is I'm going to take my level 50 tac player, since I have a level 50 tac player right on screen here. Once you get up to level 50 on tactical, you're going to have the ability to call down tactical teams. Actually, you're going to have the ability to call down additional personnel even if you're science or engineering, but right now we can call down tactical teams. And calling those down at the right time can be very handy. In PvP, it's essentially getting 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 bridge officers, weak bridge officers, but still bridge officers to come down and bail you out. It's just such an excellent harassing power. You can use it to distract AI, and you can use it to distract PvP. It's really a nice power. Another similar power that it's not really a power, it's more of an item, and you can't get it unless there's a featured episode replay. The Jem'Hadar missions, the old DS9 missions that were uploaded about 2 years ago. Play those and get the Shard of Possibilities. And when you get the Shard of Possibilities, what'll happen is you can call down copies of your current player character, and those will also come down and assist you. And those are even better than the officers you can beam down to help you, because they're a lot more powerful than those guys, and they'll be able to soak up a lot more damage and also deal more damage in turn. And if you're doing stuff solo like I am right here, where you basically are trying to take over a point, say in the Both battle zone, and you have no backup, having this extra personnel is very handy. You can basically, on some of these points, negate the need for having a player teammate, because it'd be very difficult to impossible to get through this with you and 2 bridge officers, but having the extra personnel makes it possible. You have to trigger this kind of stuff later on, because they do have their own timer before they despawn, but if you do it late enough and at the right time, you'll be able to basically succeed and finish up these points without having to worry about people too much. A lot of the time, I don't see players doing very basic power management when it comes to their officer abilities, and I'm trying to keep this as profession independent as possible, but I do see a lot of people who don't really manage their powers as effectively as they could. They don't fire them ever, or they fire them all the time. I know people who have their powers on macros and they just mash the macros and the powers are going on all the time if they're not on cooldown. I don't recommend against having a macro that you can use to fire off all your powers at once, but really when it comes down to it, especially in PvE and certain situations in PvP, that might not necessarily be the best option. I'm always for analyzing a situation and then reacting to it as it develops. And it's like, well, that's hard in a combat situation. It is hard, but analyzing your tactical situation is vital for success. And I recommend that if you're not in a situation that requires using your powers, and this is going to come as a no doubt to people, don't use them. Just go with your normal stuff and save it for when you really need it. Especially in PvE, like here I don't need my powers. Later on here, I do need my powers because I'm up against a freaking T-Rex with guns on its head. So I need, at this point, to basically pump up and step up my game and use these powers as aggressively as I can. Well, it looks like I'm running out of time, so I'll have to cover power cell use and other survival techniques in a later video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you found it useful or entertaining or whatever, hit subscribe, hit like. Feel free to comment on everything, and I will talk to you later. This is Vice Admiral Trevelyan signing off for another video. Have a good day.